Hey guys, welcome back to the internet. So, it's getting really difficult to pick out stories to read from my comments because there's just so many of you posting stories through like all my video comments. So yeah, I'll be creating that subreddit sometime in the next few days, so I'll let you know when that goes up. But today's story comes from Moat of Labras. This is not my story, but one from a friend that was a bellhop in a major ritzy hotel in Dallas, Texas, around 1997. One day, a famous actor, fresh off of Titanic, was staying at the hotel, and my friend had the dubious honor of hauling his bags. He asked the actor for his autograph, and the guy says, "I'm above autographs. I was in the greatest movie ever." And the guy says, "I don't think The Phantom was the greatest movie ever." The actor tried to get him fired. The friend didn't get fired, but they made him go on vacation and stay out of the vicinity of the hotel during the entirety of the guy's stay. Well, based on this information, who do you guys think that the actor was? And next up, I saw this post, somebody put in Entitled People, saying, "I really don't know the right sub, but here we go." So somebody made a post saying that they've played Borderlands 2 1,000 times. And somebody commented saying, "Why would you play a game for 1,000 times? Also, why would you even count? I can barely make 20 minutes of free time for gaming. I have so many things to do in real life. Have 2 meetings today and a dinner with my girlfriend. She's a reporter, but many people tell her she could have made it big in the modeling business. You may think the meetings aren't important if I have so many of them, but I'm the CEO of a major pharmaceutical company, and I simply cannot miss any of them. I hope you understand. P.S. I don't mean to sound rude, but maybe you should delete your comment. Again, I don't mean to sound rude and force opinions on others, but I just think that other people might downvote your comment. I really didn't mean to sound or appear rude or offensive." And somebody says, "What the F?" Unfortunately for that guy, he got 13 downvotes on his own comment. Wow, so this guy's the CEO of a company, has no time to play any video games, but he has time to ramble on Reddit. You know, do whatever you want with your time. Don't criticize anyone else on what they do with their time. If you want to play video games for 12 hours a day and you can get by while doing that, then all the power to you. I'm not going to criticize you on that. Does anybody know if there's a subreddit of people that just like to brag and tell everything about themselves whenever they get the chance? I think that those ones are kind of funny. Yeah, they are kind of entitled people, but they're more just like the I am very smart kind of guys. Anyways, let's get into an entitled parent story called Entitled Grandmother Tries to Micromanage My Brother's Engagement and Explodes When I Don't Comply. So as the title suggests, this post is less an entitled parents post and more an entitled grandparents post. My grandmother is the single most entitled, manipulative, and controlling person I know. In fact, my mom and I are both convinced that she's a textbook narcissist. From here on out, I will refer to my grandmother as E.G. Anyway, this story is just one of many, so I may end up posting more. For now, I'm going to share the incident that finally opened my eyes to what kind of person my grandma truly is. To start, my mom called me one day to tell me that my brother was planning to propose to his girlfriend, and that he wanted his and her parents present. My mom wanted to know ahead of time because she didn't want me to get upset if I wasn't invited. I told her it was fine, as I understood that it was my brother's wishes to only have the parents present. His girlfriend's brother wasn't going either. So my brother told my mom that he wanted to tell my grandma as well, which my mom and I both insisted was a bad idea. He did it anyway, however, and that's when my grandmother took it upon herself to take control of everything. So a day or so later, I get a phone call from my grandmother. This was over 4 years ago, so I don't remember exactly everything that was said, except for one line she used, which I will get to shortly. So my grandmother calls and says, "I just wanted to let you know that your brother didn't mean to make you feel unwelcome to attend the proposal, and he said you are more than welcome to come. Will you be coming?" I say, "No, I don't think that's a good idea." She says, "What? Why?" I say, "I just want to keep things the way he wanted. It was his wish to only invite..." At this point, my grandmother interrupts me with the single line that will be engraved in my memory forever. She says, "I can't believe you're doing this to me." I sit there in shock as she continues, "I don't have long left in this world, and I just want to see the whole family together for such a joyous event, and you are such a selfish brat for not giving that to me." She goes on and on for several minutes, to which I occasionally reply with my usual, uh-huh. She finally demands that I go, which I continuously refuse, until she hangs up. A day or so later, I get a phone call from my brother. It quickly becomes apparent that my grandmother had been talking to him because he soon reiterates everything she said about not wanting to make me feel left out. I assured him that I didn't, and wished him luck with the proposal. The girlfriend said yes, and they're now expecting their first child. Man, why all this hype around just the proposal? I mean, there are plenty of times for the family to get together for stuff like this. I don't know why she had to control every bit of it. Next up, we've got I Don't Work Here Lady, called I'm in 9th grade. So me literally looks into a wall full of tools. A lady comes in and says, "Excuse me." I ignore her because I thought she was calling one of the workers or something. She taps my shoulder, say, "Oh, hello, what's wrong?" She says, "Do you know where to find a specific brand of saws?" I say, "Oh, I'm sorry, but I don't work here." "But you look like you're working here." "I'm just wearing a red t-shirt." The employees also wore red. I say, "I'm in the 9th grade, ma'am." She says, So I don't work here?" She says, "You're lying. Stop being a biche and help me find it." So I don't want to start up a fight, so I help the lady find the brand. Minutes later, so we find one of the saws in that brand here, and she says, "Oh, but I need 3. I say, "Well, I don't know. Ask the employee." She starts grumbling quietly. She says, "But you are working here, so go check your stock." I say, "Lady, I don't work here." She says, "How dare you raise your voice?" She abruptly leaves. Suddenly, my mom calls out my name. She says, "Let's go and leave. I've got what I need. Oh, and carry the trolley." Then me and my mom go to the cash register, and guess what? Besides the cashier was the lady who was with the manager, and she was literally cussing at him. The lady then turns to me and points at me. My mom demands an explanation from me, so I explain. The manager attempts to tell the lady that I don't work here. He was unsuccessful. The lady then looks to me in the eye. She says, "Hey, why are you helping that lady, but you didn't help me?" My mom says, "I'm her mother." She starts to berate the lady. Minutes later, the lady aggressively stomps away, muttering under her breath, "Hey, if you're gonna help your mom with something, you better help every person in the store so they don't feel bad. And if you're gonna go to the store, you better not be wearing the same color as the employees." So here we go with, "Why would my son go out in dodgeball when he got hit? You should go out instead." So it was the day after Easter or something, and my mom was taking me, my cousins, and my friend to Sky Zone, one of those trampoline places. I knew we'd be spending most of the time in dodgeball, and since one of the 2 courts was reserved for a private party, all ages were put into the other court. Also made for trampolines, for people who've never been. Anyways, there was a probably 8-ish-year-old kid who I hit, and he didn't go out. So I hit him again. Same thing. I hit him a bunch of times, and I was telling one of my cousins about him, and the kid runs up and hits me while I'm distracted. Of course, I didn't go out. His mom was watching her little bundle of sunshine perform his heart out, comes storming into the situation, which leads us to our lovely cast for the story. So the mom comes up and says, "Excuse me, but why are you not going out? That's my son, and he just got you out. I've been watching." I say, "If you've been watching, then you must have seen me get him out 6 times in the last 2 minutes." She says, "Are you accusing him of cheating?" I say, "Well, if you get hit, you go out in dodgeball. I know it may be a bit confusing for some people, but it's how the game is played." The kid runs over and joins the argument, says, "You didn't hit me." The mom says, "We'll ask the referee." The ref says, I'm not sure. I think the kid is out." So the kid rolls his eyes and walks to the out area. The mom says, "No, don't go out until this kid's out. He should be out." Some other unrelated kid gets out on their team and is actually going out. The mom says, "You can stay in. This kid won't go out." Luckily, like a twisted angel descending from heaven, my cousin runs and nails the kid square in the face out of nowhere, and he runs off crying. And the entitled mom turns to me and says, "Look what you did. You ruined our time here." Oh well. Side note, I tried to apologize to the mom later anyways, and she took it sarcastically and got more mad. Thanks for reading. Man, it's so annoying when the parents try and get so involved with their kids playing with each other. Like, instead of teaching your kid to play by the rules, you have to teach everyone else's kid to work around your kid. And here we go with, if you're a leech who doesn't pay rent, probably try to be nice to people who do. Okay, this revenge is about as petty as it gets. When I was about 20, I lived in a crappy duplex with my boyfriend at the time, now ex-husband, and a housemate who was okay for the most part, except for a few things. One, he had a little dog that wasn't housebroken and would crap in the living room where we'd have to clean it up. It also crapped in his room and he didn't clean it up often. But not my room, not my poo monkeys. And 2, he had a nasty tendency to invite moochers and leeches to stay over. One in particular became a real problem. So our housemate invited this leech to stay as long as he liked. The leech was obnoxious, a compulsive liar, he had to one-up everyone with everything, and a food thief. My ex and I kept our food separate and marked out, but this douche would still eat it and then say that the housemate told him that it was okay. The housemate didn't back him up, but also wouldn't stand up to him. The leech also would regularly come in and change the channel when other people were watching TV, claiming what we were watching was stupid and that he wouldn't watch it. These things, plus walking to the bathroom on me twice, led to constant screaming fights and a few satisfying moments. I'm usually highly avoidant of conflict, but this guy was my exception. I lost my temper on a regular basis with this prick. I also embarrassed the heck out of him on a couple of occasions when he'd pulled this one-up crap on stuff I actually knew about. Once he tried to claim some spooky relation to Dracula. Yeah, the fictional character by Bram Stoker. I was a vampire lore nut and had a book on vampire myth beginnings. It had pictures of examples of children's attributes that would be killed because they were thought to be vampires. He saw a page full of pictures and pointed to one creepy looking thing and claimed, knowing the book was about vampires but not that it explained the myths, that he got that way when he was angry. I told him he should go to a doctor and showed him why. In front of a living room full of people, I explained that thing was an example of children born with syphilis. The symptoms and birth defects were attributed to vampirism. He wouldn't come out of their bedroom until their party left. Anyways, my housemate finally got fed up with his constant screaming and fighting and told him that he had to leave. He didn't pay rent. We did. So he packed his belongings into his gym bag and went downstairs to plead his case one more time. My housemate wasn't having it. I guess the leech's novelty had worn off. But while he was down there, I went into my housemate's room, which they shared, and gathered up all the dog crap. There were a few piles, and put them into his gym bag. Then I ran to our room and grabbed a cup, and filled it with hot water from the bathroom. I poured a small amount of hot water over each piece of dog crap in the gym bag, then covered it with a t-shirt and zipped it shut. All I know for sure is that he waited outside on the porch for his ride with that gym bag in the summer heat. I don't know how long it took for him to open it and find his going away present, but I did get a bit of warm happiness to imagine his surprise. My ex and I got married and moved out a few months after that. We couldn't take the unpredictability and strangers in and out. It just didn't feel safe. Yeah, roommate situations can be really difficult to deal with. It's not likely that you're going to be able to move in with some strangers and have everything go just the way you want it. I'd say the best roommates are the ones that just keep to themselves and don't bother each other. At least that's the safest way to go. Alright, time for the question of the day, which is tour guides of Reddit. What is the worst thing a tourist has ever done under your supervision? So I watched a man run up the side of the platform the Winged Victory statue is on in the Louvre, and throw his arm around it for a photo. Security got him down pretty quickly. I'm shocked he actually made it up there. I guess sometimes you just really gotta get up close for a good picture. So my cousin is a tourist guide and a biologist. Most of his tours are in Africa. He instructed his group of 20 to 25 people, including kids, not to wear any type of earrings or collars, especially shiny stuff, since they were about to go into a thick forest to try and see a bunch of animals. This is very important because 20 to 25 makes a lot of noise, which makes wild animals run away or hide. It's even worse if they're wearing shiny stuff they can spot from far away. Okay, so this woman complains, decides to wear shiny earrings anyway. My cousin tells her to get rid of them or she ain't coming with the group, so she obeys but puts them on a bit later. Some species of monkey in that area love shiny stuff, so they ripped them right from her ears. Well, that's what happens when you don't listen to instructions. So I had a guest, snorkeling, try and grab the tail of a barracuda as he swam up behind it. Luckily, I was able to hit the guest with a dive fin from the boat to stop him before he got a hold of it. If he had grabbed on, I'm sure he would have been ripped to pieces by that fish. Why do people just have to touch everything? So I work at a brewery tap room and take people on brewery tours. During fermentation, CO2 is produced and an excess comes out through a runoff pipe and into a water bucket. One of the attendees, who was being a pain and trying to be funny but nobody was laughing, asked me what the pipe was for, so I gladly explained. He then asked what would happen if he breathed it in. In disbelief of his stupidity, I told him he would pass out and damage his brain. He then proceeded to grab the pipe and take a breath. He was then ejected and barred. Some people are just beyond belief. Hey, you can't get brain damage if you don't have a brain. So I was on tour of a small cave system somewhere in West Texas. It was a really beautiful, and right after the guide told us how long it took for all of the stalagmites and stalactites to form, she turned around to move on, and some guy leans over and snaps off a small one and shoved it into his pocket. I was so surprised, I just stared at him, and he smiled and winked at me like we had really gotten away with something, and I was a co-conspirator or something. Man, this is why every place that turns into a tourist attraction just goes to crap. And the final one, so I was a former whitewater rafting guide. There's a calmer section of the river people can, if they choose to, hop out and swim through. They're wearing life jackets, so you can just float through it. So this woman decides she wants to try it and hops out. After she pops up, she slowly tilts forward until the back of her jacket is out of the water and she's completely still. After 5 or so seconds of that, I started to realize this might not be intentional and paddle over and physically pick her head up above the water, followed by her gasping for air. I haul her into the boat and ask what happened. She said she didn't know what to do as she'd never been submerged in water before. So 1, why are you on a whitewater rafting trip? And 2, why didn't your strategy involve moving your body? How could you be a full-grown adult and never submerge yourself in water? Like, you must have some crazy phobia of water if you've gone that long. Alright, that about does it for today's stories. I'll look into starting a subreddit for us and let you know pretty soon. So thanks for watching.